Well, thank you for listening to me because I asked Mark, I said, what am I supposed to say? He said, power of education. Well, I'm someone standing in front of you who's one of the few sportsmen who managed to play international sport as well as got educated or finished his university education. And I can just say that the greatest blessing was to have quality education which helped me in my sport. And I would not have done it but for my mother. When I was 17, 18, I was being selected for my national team. So I wanted to go on tour, first tour, and was to England. So my mother made me promise. She said, I will only let you go on this tour if you promise you will complete your university education. And I can tell you, it is the hardest thing for a sportsman. It is the hardest thing, if you're already at the international level, to study. Because sports needs absolute focus. It has to have, you cannot succeed at the top level if you do not have that complete passion and focus for the game. And that means you can't think of anything else. So for me, to finish my university education was the hardest thing I did. But later on in life, I found that thanks to my mother, it was the best decision I made. I had to use my willpower because I didn't want to study. All I wanted to do was to be on the cricket field. But because I studied, it gave me that advantage which other sportsmen did not have. And cricket, fortunately, is one of the few sports which needs more brains than other sports. So it gave me, I became better at analyzing my game, but even better when I became captain. Cricket is the only sport where the captain has to be a leader. Otherwise, in soccer and rugby and hockey, you don't even know who your captain is because coach is everything. In cricket, no coach can replace a captain. And captain, it helps if he's educated, if he has a good mind, or if his mind is trained, if he can analyze. So, to the parents sitting here, I can tell you that the best thing you can do to your children is to insist on them, force them to get university education. I certainly do it with my boys. I insist that they must get university education because it trains your mind. You have a much greater, for the extra 3 years or 4 years you spend, it changes the rest of your life. There are a lot of people who don't believe in university education. I'm not one of them. I think it really benefits you. It prepares you. It's a stepping stone for doing greater things later on. And just for the Muslims sitting here, I just want to give the example of our Prophet, peace be upon him. When the Muslims won their first battle, the tradition at that time was that the captives, you could ransom the captives. But our Prophet, he said any captive who could make 10 Muslims read or write could earn his freedom. Now, this was a revolutionary concept at the time. But the emphasis on education was laid, and as a result, for 700 years, all top scientists were Muslim. Today, the state of the Muslim world is what it is because we have lost the quest for knowledge. We no longer pay any emphasis to education. There's all that oil that flows in the Muslim world, but unfortunately that is not converted into good universities and quality educational institutions. So people sitting here, the Muslims, you have a great, this is a great chance for you to avail the good quality education which you have here in Britain. And I hope that you will not miss this opportunity and make sure that your children are pushed and to get quality education and utilize these great resources that exist in Britain. Although Mark was telling me that the government has decided to cut the spending on education, it's the biggest disaster this government can do. I can tell you, when our government comes into power, which inshallah it will do next year, we will double the spending on education.